Welcome to Daytime Today. Who am I? I'm James Lott Jr. here at JLJ Media, and I'm bringing you there's a new soap in town. Yes, and it's an audio soap. That's right, kids. You know I know about that. And when I heard the person who was behind it, I ran and gave him a message and said, "Yeah, come on the show." And I'm so happy to have both of these people on the show because I'm meeting him for the first time with the name that seriously needs to be a soap opera character, Andrew Pemberton-Fowler. He is the executive story editor, and that name is just amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
And I've known him for 10,000 years. We have a long history. And I'm very proud of it. I'm very excited that he's joined the family of audio dramas. He is the executive producer, the creator, the showrunner, all the stuff that is important, and directrix, all of it. Grant Rutter. Hi, Grant.
Hi, thanks, James, for having us. It's good to see you.
Same here. Montecito, my favorite soap ever was Santa Barbara. That's my favorite. So I heard Montecito. I'm like, I know what that is. And folks, if you don't know where it is, that's where like Oprah and them have houses. They like live in. It's part of it's like it's part of Santa Barbara. But I heard the name. Great name for a soap. So congratulations to both of you.
Thanks.
And I like this. I like the logo. I wrote this down. I love the logo. I love the trailer. I love the name. I heard the first episode. Loved it. And yeah, half my friends are on your show, from Crystal Chappelle to Mark Anthony Samuel to Vincent Irizarry, Kelly Tebow. I know all of them. Like I knew some of these are like my really good friends. And you got them. So congratulations on
We
Monsters.
were lucky. Yeah, we were lucky.
Yes,
Thank you.
let's talk about that, Grant. Because I mean, first of all, so for you, let me start at the beginning. So when we did it back in 2020, it was because the soaps ran out. Remember that time? The soaps, except for Days of Our Lives, the other soaps ran out of episodes. I never thought in my complete lifetime I'd ever see that when they just run out. And we were in complete lockdown, and nobody could do anything. And we were like, "What are we gonna do? We can't do anything visual, and you can't get together." So when we did, it was very hard. It was very hard to beginning. Like, how do you figure out? Do you
Yeah.
use Skype? Do you use which is my Skype? Do you use Zoom? We didn't even know about StreamYard yet. That wasn't even anything in there. Or Google Teams. Like it was this crazy thing when we were trying to start out Forever in a Day and Miss Toll Road. We're like, we kept being in the same room together. It was just the weirdest stuff. And we wanted to do something that was a tribute to the soap opera genre. I think at that point it was at 80 years or 90 years like that on the air. And he started in radio. So for you, Grant, what got you to think about I want to do an audio soap?
Yeah, I wanted to do this project in some form or fashion for a long time. And I work full time in the podcast space. And I had this project that was basically, you remember the rise of the web soap,
Yeah.
and that was like, maybe I can do something with this. And obviously it was visual and it was, it's beautiful. It's by the beach. And then the thought of having to adapt that for an audio only show, I thought, well, like, aren't I going to lose kind of the appeal of this setting? But I said, no, let me really think about it. And I think it can work. And I think it's like, I've been saying, like, if you can read a book, if you can listen to an audio book, you can imagine and you can enjoy and get something out of this and create your own version of Montecito. Characters in the show like Mina are going to look different for everybody. And that's kind of the magic of the medium, right? So we're not really telling anyone how to feel about anything. I keep saying this is not a political show. I'm not trying to tell anyone who to vote for or anything stupid. It's just a soap opera, and it's a good escape.
Yes. And the thing that we had to learn was that you can't rely on visual cues. So I see you guys do the same thing. You have to add all the elements, all the audio elements, and really tell a story, so people can remember it because they're listening now. They're not seeing.
Yeah.
So Andrew, I'm asking you, how has that been in terms of when you guys were putting this together? Like, how's that been, kind of figuring that out?
Well, that is what you build into the script. So I became interested in audio fiction when I was a child. Burger King, I don't know if anyone else remembers this, but they did a set of children's fairy tales on cassette tape as part of, I think, the whatever their Happy Meal version is. But they were full cast recordings. And that's when I first really became interested in audio as a profession. But really, I found this script template years ago from a guy out of LA, And that's kind of what we've used, but you list all of the sound effects, all of the music, all of the everything is numbered. You got that from the BBC. So really distilling it down so it helps the actors, it helps the editor, it helps the team know where you are. In our scripts, we put the time of day, like when is this scene happening? Because a restaurant sounds very different at 9 a.m. versus 9 p.m. It sounds different from the beginning of the lunch rush at 11:30 versus the end at 2:30. So you put in little cues like that that inform space and place and time, um, which then translates to the listener because you're listening to it. You're like, oh, it is morning. I don't know what time it is in the morning, but you know it is 8:30 or whatever without having to be told all of the time. So that was just one of the ways that we, kind of the foundation for us when we were writing scripts and editing and everything. Like, how do we begin to really establish this world without having to tell everyone every single thing about it?
Which actually visual stuff do that all the time still. Sometimes so for you're like, okay, I heard that yesterday and I kind of know already. Let me be a little shady, but you know how it is. But yeah, but you know how it is, Rand. But on audio, I know I learned that yes, the scripts can inform the different scenes, the intros and outros, all that kind of stuff, and people are ready to listen. I mean, they are. I mean, my mother was into the audiobooks and on cassette since the 80s. I mean, she was listening to, all that stuff. And I was just like, oh, like she put it in her car. And so I'm like, what are you listening to? It's like, I'm not saying that Stephen King, Pet Sematary or whatever. I'm like, okay, on audio. And I thought, and so when 2020 came around, I was like, well, I guess it's this old, I coined it old school with new school technology. We claimed it. Because it's been around forever. And people listening to podcasts and listening to audiobooks was just something kind of in that. It's, in audiobooks, you hear just words most of the time. Some do sounds, but it's mostly you're reading the page. Unless you're Barbara Streisand, who adds her music in there and all that. I listened to that. It was crazy. Anyway, side note, Andrew, belated happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a Taurus also, so I'm May 10th. Mine's coming up in a couple of weeks, and you started off our whole season.
Yes.
Happy birthday! I went to say it to you. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
It's amazing we get along because I'm a Gemini. They are not compatible, but luckily we work wonderfully together.
No, Grant, I actually disagree with that. Here's the thing. I have two best friends who are Gemini, and you and I always got along too. The thing is,
we did.
Bring stuff out of us. Because Taurus, we're not. Geminis are like, there's 10 of you running around. But to a Taurus, there's like at least 5 of you we like in that 10. So we'll go to that, right, Andrew? That's the whole thing. Like we know all.
Careful.
We love it. We know it's good. But I love Geminis. Get me out of my comfort zone a lot of times and get me to do stuff that I would never do.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of me. Not enough to do all the work necessary to get the show off the ground. Yeah, we did it. We did it.
We do. I guess I'm great. No, but yeah. So I think people need to understand that it's this technology's been around forever. Soap started on radio. Radio's still around. All this stuff's here. So I'm like, it's not far-fetched to actually bring it back to that again. Were there any, you mentioned some concerns, but were there any other major concerns you were thinking as you were putting this together? Grant, we'll go with you, Grant. Anything you were thinking?
I mean, I knew I wanted to work with soap opera actors, and the concern really was, how do you sell someone on a project where there's literally nothing tangible to show? Obviously, there were scripts, and the scripts are quite far along, if not near lock, while we were casting. But you're selling people on an idea, a concept. People can understand it. Everything you've just described. It's like an audio book. It's like a podcast, but it's scripted. But so you could sell people on that. But it's really difficult to say well, here's the why, and here's what we're doing. And so I had a one sheet, and would put everything on there, and every space on that sheet counted for something. There was value to it. Really trying to show this is a business play. I mean, there's a lot of creativity. It's extremely creatively fulfilling, and I've certainly loved every minute of that aspect and producing and using that muscle. But obviously, I want this to stick around. I mean, we want to continue to nurture our audiences and grow, and the work that you've put into, we want to see this genre of audio really stick around. So how do we do that? And so that was another kind of aspect to the project that was part of the business plan.
Yeah, I figure you like me. I'm all business too. You know me. I'm all business first, and then everything.
Yeah.
I love creativity. I love all that, but I'm all about how can we make this stuff work out. And there's a lot of parts, folks. I mean, folks at home, not to get too into the weeds. There's SAG-AFTRA contracts. There's things you got to do. There's all kinds of stuff you got to do when you work with people who are non-union versus union, and if you're offering no money, I mean, it's all kinds of stuff that go on to these audio dramas that all of us have to deal with. That's somewhat similar to something, except that there's no screen. That's the only thing. You're not on screen somewhere. So that's a few things I had to deal with. A couple people. So where can I see this? Well, you can't see it.
Yeah.
You can't see it.
Well, to answer that, I created this visual experience. It's licensed footage and it's on a loop, and it's beautiful shots of the location, and it'll enhance kind of the experience for people. But yeah, we didn't get the actors on screen recording, and that just wasn't part of the contract. And I was not looking to do that.
Right. Same here.
It's truly theater of the mind, and that's how it should live.
I like that, Grant. We're going to cut that out like that. Andrew, how did you get involved?
Oh, I got involved in, what was it, 2019, Grant?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
pre-pandemic.
we met at a networking event,
Oh,
and I don't even remember why we started talking to each other, but it was just an intro, blah blah blah. Somehow, one of us mentioned a soap opera,
I
and
think we were talking about our internships,
probably, yeah, because I interned on Y&R and Bold and the Beautiful, and he
as
interned
did
on
I.
All My Children. I think I was jealous of that because All My Children was my show growing up. So,
I was
um,
there for the tail end of that run, so I wouldn't be too jealous if you know what I mean.
well, but so he mentioned it to me. I was working. I hadn't started Soapcast yet. But I was very interested in audio drama, having come out of the UK, where I went to college and grad school, and just listening to the Archers, listening to, the BBC, honestly, everyone who's watching, listening, go on their website, go on their app, listen to those radio dramas. They are top notch. They are informative. The Archers is 13 minutes, and it is actually trivia. The most consumed soap opera in the world in English is The Archers. 5 million listeners a day on the BBC. So audio has a place. This world has a place. So when Grant came to me, because we were friends, and then he wanted to do Montecito, and it was during the pandemic to 2021. I went through a breakup that year. That's why I remember. So we kind of started that.
now I'm ready.
And
I don't remember any of this.
yeah, we started because at the beginning he came to me with Long Story and said, "How do I make this an audio soap opera?" So,
Yeah. I tried to get him interested. I was like, I don't know if he's gonna want to work on this with me, but I think if anyone, would want to do it, maybe, he had the knowledge. And I was like, maybe, because I knew Andrew's a fantastic writer, and not only knows how to write for soaps, but how to write for audio. And that was the big thing, so I knew that I could learn so much from him.
yeah, so we started Long Story. Who are these characters? I think you were in New York at that time, 2021.
Yep.
I ended up moving, and then we kind of picked it up again, 2022. I think we were still talking. We did write a few test scripts
Yep.
originally. Did we finish the season or get to episode 5?
Yeah, I think it was like 6 or 7.
But
Yeah.
then we started working together on the official Gilded Age podcast for HBO. So that kind of, after that ended, then we really started in earnest, writing, finishing Long Story, writing the breakdowns, and then writing the scripts and really refining what the show was. So I've been Montecito has been here for a long time. I mean, it's Grant's baby. I guess I'm the step parent.
Bonus parents. Bonus parents.
Yeah.
I see now. I see.
Bonus parent,
Oh,
yeah.
No, I mean, I just want to like mention like how important like Andrew was on this, and I mean, I weighed and measured so much stuff by him. It was so important to me that he signed off on these things, that we were in agreement. We would get on the phone. We still do. Like just I can't say enough good things, and we've always had a good working relationship on this. But I wanted, I never wanted it to feel like he was like doing a favor for me. I wanted him to be equally invested. I really did.
Yeah, and I think one reason why the writing process with us, because I think I wrote dialogue for 5 episodes and edited with, the episodes and back and forth with Grant, but and all potential soap opera writers out there, it is your breakdown. It has to be in the breakdown. And that's one thing Grant and I really, really made sure was right. Because I remember telling him, I think this is when we did the first batch of scripts before we revised them and rewrote them. But someone needs to be able to pick up this breakdown, any writer, and know exactly what to do, where to go, the tone, the style, even put notes in your breakdown and tell the writer, this is the intention of the scene, but we want to maybe shift the audience to support Mina for this reason to get us somewhere else later. You can write that in a breakdown, it's fine. But it also, when you start writing, it just informs what you want. So maybe it's just you don't like the way the characters are exchanging their dialogue, but the story is there. You can always change a line. And we've had to rewrite scenes, and I don't think that works. I don't think that works, but it's there.
Yeah,
And so we didn't have a lot of script problems because we spent so much time getting those breakdowns
so
correct.
true.
I agree with you on that. I've done my casters will know. There were a couple times where I rewritten a scene while we were doing it because sometimes you get actors together and you're like, oh, it sounds better this way, maybe. And you just I say, hold on 1 second, and then we type it up and say, here you go. And I've done it before. Like you said, as long as the story is there, the breakdown is there, I agree with you completely. You can do anything else out of that. You can work out of that. I love that. So Grant, before I ask you, because I want to say first for Andrew, my favorite soap opera period is EastEnders. And
Mm.
and I think they do everything correctly that soap opera should be doing in America. That's no story. And they just had their 40th, and they just amazing episodes, the whole thing. So I'm with you on the UK stuff. I'm kind of an Anglophile a little bit anyway, but I very much I like that soap opera. That's my favorite of all of them right now. But Grant, had you heard any audio soaps, any of ours or anybody else's that you did while you were kind of planning, or were you like, let me not hear nothing and just kind of like stick to it?
Yeah, no, no. I've always liked to see what's out in the market and dabble and to click around. So yes, I have listened to Forever and a Day and checked out what's going over there. I know that has since concluded, correct?
It
So
started. It's
I've
about to conclude. Yeah, it's about to conclude. Yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah. So I've listened to a couple different of the seasons of the cliffhangers just to see like how that's kind of structured. Definitely did my homework with the Archers and listened to some of that. It was slow for me, I will admit. It was a different kind of experience, but as far as like the production, like for that was a great example of production value and engagement and how that. I mean, they have that down like to a science over there. I mean, that really is like the gold standard. So I obviously had to go and listen to that. But for me, it was always trying to replicate this broadcast quality. It's like if you were to, just listen to a show, go in the other room. Like I multitask. I'm always listening to the soaps. I don't really sit and watch them. So I can listen, but I want to know who's in and who's out of these scenes. And so I would listen to the Y&R podcast, and I wanted to consume it that way because I know the show, I know all the voices, I know okay, Michelle Stafford's in the scene, blah blah blah. But I wanted to see how it would translate in audio first. And I found myself kind of lost. You wouldn't know who's looking through the window or who's they're going to cutting over now. Michael and Lauren are sitting and having lunch behind them. You don't know this stuff. So that taught me a lot of like how we need to get in and out and around these scenes, and also to really focus on like 3, 4 people, but be very clear about their entrances and exits.
yeah.
Right. And I remember, and I don't know if anyone else does, but Guiding Light and As the World Turns, 2006, I think, they released audio versions of those shows, but they had a narrator to say, I don't know, Barbara has walked into the room or Barbara and Allison are having lunch. And so they gave you that kind of scene setting It was a long time ago. I think it lasted maybe 2 years or so, but that was
Yeah. I remember they had a real old school millennial text that would come up on the screen and it said like podcast streaming at cbs.com slash guide forward slash guiding light slash podcast slash listen now slash marketing. I was like,
but
oh
again,
God.
it's a really great
Yeah.
testament to how daytime gets a lot of things right, fumbles a lot. I think that's true of any genre. But they said, hey, it's the early 2000s. Podcasting is what is this? But let's make these soaps available on iTunes. I think it was the old way. You had to plug in your phone, download it, transfer it over. Something, and I think I still have like 2 episodes like lingering in a
Yeah,
storage.
it reminds me of X-Files when they started going online too. It was like it was the early 2000s. They were going online, and it was just like online was not online. I mean, it was like it was we were it was so primitive. I had my grape iMac that I got in 2000, and it only had like 1 gigabyte on it or whatever. And I'm like, I can't see it. I was going on. Like, it's just, I mean, I just can't. I mean, it's they were ahead of their time in a way, but it just didn't hit yet.
Yeah, it was supplemental, and someone was thinking. I know Passions did a lot of online
Yes,
stuff too, and someone was thinking, and they allow them to do it. And I think that's something that's lacking with a lot of these companies now because the focus is the streaming services and just pushing subscriptions. They're not worried about fan experiences or a second screen or anything like that anymore. It's really a shame. So that's where, hopefully other people can come in and independence and create that experience because I know people are so hungry for content.
they are. And the thing is, well, first came through, of course, like we said earlier, was the web stuff, webisodes they called it, the web things, and then it became, and of course you're one of the stars of your show. Grant and I just actually talked to them, the cast of Venice, a couple weeks ago. I mean,
Yeah.
she's one of the people, early people who started that whole process of getting soap actors together and doing a soap opera. I mean, like on this kind of where are they going? She said we don't know
Yeah.
where going at first, like, and then YouTube became something. But it's just that it takes one or two people to kind of go, let me try something a little different, and then the audience will follow. I really do think they'll follow. I mean, I've had success with them. I mean, I'm making money off them. I mean, I got viewers, I got listenership. I mean, it's working. People want
Yeah.
something new and exciting and fresh, and it's just waiting for people to do it. That's all. Waiting for people to do it. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
not surprised. And then when I heard your first episode of Montecito, I'm gonna ask you guys next. Like we're gonna actually talk about that show. I liked it, and you have a diversity of characters, which we like. There was a lot going on, which I liked also.
Mhm.
Sometimes first episodes you're like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna get to it. There's a lot going on. I really enjoyed it. I thought you guys did a great job. So tell folks, either one of you can do this. What is Montecito?
Yeah, well, Montecito is an experience with this malignant narcissist, lightning rod character Mina, who is a resident of Montecito. She is married into one of the top families there, and she's never leaving, basically. So she's trapped this one of the elite family members, a gay man with a baby, and they are in this marriage of convenience for 13 years. It's a miserable experience. So she gets her kind of side piece out of another rich family in the sky, JJ, who lives in Montecito. And this what you heard in episode 1 is really just the beginning, obviously, but there are other characters that come in. We explored a lot of different topics like parental alienation, writing for a malignant narcissist, and how that dynamic works, and family and business. There's brother sister relationships, mother son, father son. So we've got 10 episodes to start, 20 minutes each. So there's a lot of places to go.
Yes. Go ahead, Andrew. What are you going to add to that?
Oh no, I don't have anything to add to what Grant just said. I think that one reason why we've been able to really hit the ground running with Montecito in the first episode from the first moment is because we decided to have lives for our characters before that first episode begins. They know each other. They already have these dynamics between them. So the minute that elevator opens, we're walking into a party. Crystal Chappelle's Helena is already giving a speech. Everything is in progress. So it's I I really feel strongly in my own writing that you have your pilot, of course, your first episode, but start the day before. What were they doing? What did they have for breakfast before they get here? Because all of that stuff, as we all, the three of us had days before we sat down to record this. Like I had a meeting. I'm sure other people had other things. So what are your characters doing before, well, and exactly when we meet them? And then that can kind of springboard you off into your story.
I like that. Actually, that's the reason why I like the first episode. It's like already in progress. So you see here on TV, already show already in progress. Actually, I was going to tell you that's what I liked about it. Was because yeah, like you can always do flashbacks, all those. You can always do other stuff. You need to explain something, but like, let's just get to the action. I mean,
Yeah,
so pacing. Pacing is everything, and
it
I
really
learned in
is.
audio dramas that's even more important is pacing,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're fortunate where a lot of these soap actors are used to that type of delivery, but I will say most of these scenes reflect the original pacing from the recording sessions. There were some places where obviously music swells and there are sound effects and things like that, but I mean, we worked with pros, so they know how to get through these scenes and where to speed up and then where to have these long beats. And we're not getting those long shots at the end and the tags and all that, but the music does the work for us, but the actors have to get us there.
And
Yes.
we did, we kept the scripts in broadcast television format. So we had our act breaks and everything just to give these actors who come from television, oh, I know what this means. This is the end
Yeah.
of Act One. There's a commercial break. I need to maybe perform this in this way to get us out of it. So again, using all of our tools to really inform the show so it feels familiar while still being new.
I want to fangirl for a second. Isn't it a trip? We're three guys who just, we're in the parts of the business, right? I mean, we're not A-list stars or nothing. We're stars, just not A-list stars, we're stars. Um, but I know for me, when I was able to work with certain people on my shows, and they're like, and I'm the director, like, I'm like, Grant, you're a director. I'm the director of these episodes.
Yeah.
And so and so enters the Zoom, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Justin Torkelson. Oh my God, it's Joelle Allen. Oh my God. Like, I, I mean, I do my job, obviously, and get it done. But I just want to say, isn't it a trip that we got people that people know that we know we used to watch on TV are on our shows? Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Some of these people I went to the Guiding Light fan club luncheon when I was a kid.
Right.
It's funny. Yeah, no, I mean, when we were in the virtual studio that we used, I mean, I would come on and give notes and talk, and then I would turn everything off and let them just be with each other in the scene. But I mean, I was enjoying. I was getting such a kick out of it to hear the voices and to hear them work with the material. And I mean, it was we have there's some levity to the show, so there's some funny moments and then some drama, obviously. But to really hear these voices that God, we've all watched since probably we were born into it. So it's
Yeah,
really
basically.
interesting to hear their take and to be able to work with them. And they were so gracious with taking notes and they really, I will say, everyone we worked with took it seriously. So that was even like sweeter, that they really appreciated it and turned in good work and took the project seriously.
Yes, Andrew, I want to tell you, for me, I took there's no greater high for me when someone I like is reading my scripts, the words I wrote. To me, that's a natural high. It's just kind of like she's saying my
Yeah.
words. He's saying
It's
my
it's
words.
always a little, I don't want to say it's not maddening. It's surreal because you've written whatever. I actually had a session yesterday with two actors, and you're sitting with them and they're going through and you're making notes and you're just having a conversation. But when you get to production, you're like, oh, that sounds better than I wrote it. Or you're like, oh, why did I write it that way? But it's always amazing what an actor can do. For me, like I didn't know who would play any of these characters, and then Grant started trickling back to me. He was like, "We have Crystal Chappelle, we have this
Mhm.
person." But for me, it was like Vincent Irizarry because I
uh,
grew up watching All My Children, and he came on, and Erica Kane, and it was one of those moments where you go, "All right." He can see you, you can see him, don't react. And you're like, I hope he likes these words.
Yeah,
We
that's what
have
I was
come
thinking.
over. But after 5 minutes, it's a job, it's work.
It's a job.
Everyone's here to work.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
to their questions, you provide any feedback, and you just kind of get on with it. But it is a trip, and I think it is when you're in this business and you start working with actors on from television or film, and you're in the same room and you're holding the same space as them, like you can't fangirl. You can't
Right, yeah,
because
right.
then you're a psychopath and
Yeah.
you might be escorted out of the building.
Okay, we can fangirl on this show real quick. But I said, but I said to get out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just want people to know that. I mean, anybody watching this thinking, so I also want to help people out there. They're thinking, I want to do it myself.
Yeah.
It can be done. And it's one of those
Yeah.
things. You work hard,
Yeah.
and there's some luck involved.
Yeah.
But then,
Yeah.
but we're three regular guys who got in the business, and we're doing it.
Yeah, I think for me it was Crystal Chappelle too. For me, because she's just, obviously a true soap star, but also a producer
Yes,
and knows this audience, probably more than most. And she's truly a success. I mean, how many Emmys, so
right.
it was, really wanting to give her the right experience and have that kind of relationship and build that with her. I know, I realize all the time, I know who these people are. They, we have no relationship until we meet. So obviously wanting to give them like everything they need and just, just knock it out, and get it right. That was really great to work with her because I just knew that she would have fun with it, and she knew how to like manipulate her voice, and she's just such a natural.
She's the bomb. I mean, and she's so. How was telling me, we saw this off camera, me and Grant, and a message. She's so humble. Like I was giving
Yeah.
her some praising on a great I interviewed her, and she's like, "Oh, stop!" I'm like, no, it's the truth. Like you're a groundbreaker. I mean, hello, like you really are, and you should sit in that. Like just like I'm not saying you to be uppity about it, just like know that you chose to do something that no one else was really doing, and other shows came after. I mean, it's like you kind of
Yeah.
you went on a limb to do it. I mean, you could have just been an actress and just stayed an actress and not. But I just think that in terms of like you, Grant and I are we're very business like. We always like these kind of talks like the behind it of the. I love that kind of stuff because it really is fascinating to me that anything gets produced. Because sometimes it's a miracle that anything gets produced in this business. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of parts, and I would say for you, Andrew and Grant, that you both are these parts of this Montecito machine that you both need each other, and then anybody else was part of it, you needed them, and they needed you, and it's just no one's an island. It's like you need a great team to produce. I mean, whether it's a podcast or anything, you need a great team. I think you both kind of agree with that. I'm sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, this was a small team and I wanted it that way. There was some
Sure.
ideas to bring other writers on, and it just really didn't make sense for the vision that we had. And, Andrew and I just worked so well together. And I gotta give credit to Trey Booty, the sound designer. He, not only that, he was the executive sound editor. And so he really put everything, and I was heavily involved too, but he really, really sweetened it and made it right. And he used all of his skills. And I mean, we've been working together for years.
Right.
And he's known I've wanted to do this for years. And I kind of kept it like in the background, like, what do you think? Would you want to do this? Do you think it's possible? And I was like, okay, we're doing it. I just told him we're doing it.
Yeah, and we worked
And
with
he's in it.
Trey. I mean, Great Grant has worked with Trey before, but the three of us worked together on the official Gilded Age podcast for HBO. So we already had a relationship with each other. We had a working relationship. We had been in the trenches together, and going to Montecito I think it was weeks later, maybe 2 months or whenever we wrapped. It was not too long after that because I was
Yes,
yeah, it was
correct. It was in,
2024.
yeah, it was March. Yes.
Yeah, so we finished Gilded Age in like November and then started Montecito not too long after that. So, when you respect each other, you work together, you know how to work together. Um, he can take what we do and he knows what Grant wants and he knows how to follow the beats of a soap opera. Like he never gave us something that you listened to it and you were like, this isn't a soap opera. He gave us soap
Mhm.
opera,
I love
like
it.
even in the first edit. Like that's very hard to do.
Where what is one thing that you learned about yourself in this whole process?
It's a great question. What an Oprah question.
And I think
Um,
it's quite Bopra.
I knew you'd appreciate that. Um, oh, it's that I usually get like frustrated when things just seem endless, and it's like I can quickly, especially if I'm working for somebody else, it's gonna be like, oh, how much do I have to, how much you need from me? What I have nothing left to give. But with this, it was really and still is just like a bottomless, like, there's so much I could continue to give to this project. I have such a love for it. I want to see it do well. I want to see it find its audience. I want to see the audio soap opera medium thrive. I want this for us. So I still feel like I'm just like have a boundless energy to keep going, even though I have my moments where it's like, okay, like I've been at this all day. I need a minute. There's always something more I can do, and I dig deep and find out that I can do it. And I usually, even though I sometimes complain about things, I get them done.
You never complain. Oh, rant. Rant doesn't rant. What are you talking about? I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm a
Uh,
little I'm a little better these days.
but you're getting older. You're getting older. As we
Yeah,
start to
a little
even out.
better.
You get mellow out when you get older. I would say older. And Andrew, for you, what would your advice be to any aspiring audio writers? What are a couple of things you would say to them from the experience you've had?
That's a great question. I would say one, again, listen to what the BBC produces, their audio dramas, their the plays they produce, even the comedy shows. Just listen, allow your ear to become accustomed to removing all visual elements and relying on your imagination because it's not only about world building, it's about understanding how people talk to each other. And that is very different when you can't see each other. So, how do you do that? The second thing I really would do, and I can't remember the woman's name. If I can find it, I will put it on Instagram. I have the book, it's in storage. There are probably three books on writing soap opera. One I think is just called Writing Soap Opera by Chris Curry, I think is her name. Get that. It was UK focused, but the advice she gives, and it's for television soaps, but the advice she gives on how to write a soap opera, priceless. There was another one that came out in the 80s by Jean Reveau. She was a head writer on a few soaps in the 60s and 70s. Get that too. Both very, very informative. If you want to write for soaps, you have to watch Agnes Nixon and Bill Bell's Emmy
That's it.
archive interviews. Watch the whole thing.
Yes.
Watch Wes Kinney. Watch and listen, just listen to what these people say about writing soaps. The actors, Eric Braeden has one, Susan Lucci, Kate Alden, just watch and listen. You don't have to take all of their advice. Their careers are their careers, but what they're saying is priceless. Listen to the old radio soap operas from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. They are available. Internet Archive has a trove of them. Listen to the original Guiding Light. Listen to Ma
Yeah.
Perkins. Listen to Pepper Young's Family. They revived it in the 60s with the same scripts. Those episodes are fantastic. I think they're 60, 90. Listen to those. You need to understand how to begin to build an audio soap opera, but you need to listen to the best people who've done it. There is one more show that I'm going to say that most people have probably never heard of called Faces of the Heart. It came out in 1975, 6, something like that. It stars Morgan Fairchild. It is fantastic. You can find that on Internet Archive. It's about 13 episodes. There's another one called To Have and to Hold, different cast. I believe the actress who played Maida Bauer on Guiding Light is in To Have and to Hold. But those two are fantastic. It is kind of a lost series at this point, but that is honestly before the daytime independence and daytime started making audio drama. That was the last one, and that was in the 70s. Listen to there's a 100th anniversary audio drama of The Wizard of Oz. It is fantastic. Michelle Trachtenberg is Dorothy. Listen to that. I could go on and on. You can always message me on Instagram. I will reply. But you have to immerse yourself in this. You cannot just come in, say, I'm going to do an audio drama without any reference, without any background, without having an opinion about the Archers, without having an opinion on how other writers and producers are making their shows. You have to also know how to write without a narrator, and I can't stress that enough. You have to learn how to tell these stories without anyone guiding you through it. And I will stop talking now, but
Mhm.
that is my very long answer.
I want you to tell. I said, share what you share. I mean, please.
Yeah, Andrew, I told you, Andrew knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I listened to those early Guiding Light episodes, and yeah, it's amazing that they survived.
Yes.
Like that, there's a record of these. I
Right.
mean, how,
Right.
no one's really invested in preserving the history, but yeah, those were really interesting to listen to, and the pacing and you just see the evolution, but those were also instrumental. I should have added those. And I did do my research beyond, and went into the past as well
One of my
because that,
questions was different for him than yours. I asked you the same question. I was like, I mean, I know you, right? I know you obviously did your
yeah.
research. I mean, I'm sure you did your research.
Yeah, no, but it's true. You have to give credit to where it all started. We're not, I don't claim to be doing anything brand new out of the box with this. It's a modernized version, but I know where they came from.
Yeah. And that's you know your past, right? You know your history. And celebrate it. And I agree with that 1,000%. Folks, run. You don't have to run. You can just go to your phone, your tablet, wherever. Also on YouTube. You can also go on YouTube and listen. Montecito is out now. Episode 1 is out now, correct?
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
But we released them together. Yeah, they're
And
kind of
trailer.
companions. Yeah.
And the trailer's out too. So if you want to go to the trailer first, then do 1, then 2, you will be hooked. Check this out now. Tell them James sent you. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show. Congratulations.
Thank you, James. Thank you for being an advocate for our show and spreading the word. You're one of the best. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. There's room for everybody, folks. That's the whole thing. I want this genre to be big too. I seriously want it to grow because people are on the go. People are listening to things nowadays. You're at the gym, you're walking your dog, you're walking your kids, you're flying everywhere, you're on trains. I mean, like, this is perfect. If you don't want to, you can just close your eyes, put it in, and just listen to an audio drama. Like, just put it in, or an audio comedy. And you don't have to think. Just close your eyes, sit back, and listen to it.
Yeah, I'll add too. They're 20 minutes, very digestible, and you can listen to them around kids because they're like TV 14 rated. There's no F bombs in these. Like it's a safe. Because that's how we watch. That's how I got into soaps as a kid. If it was HBO, my parents weren't going to let me watch. But because it was network TV, it was accessible. So I wanted to make it the same. There's no need, there's no need to have, gratuitous swearing. It's for everyone.
It's for everybody. Is Montecito on any like Instagram or anything like that, or is it tell people?
I'm just holding it. I'm holding a handle for them, but basically we're pushing people to Facebook and the YouTube page. Definitely the YouTube page is something that's been more of a priority to us, but you could check out Facebook as well. So on Facebook, it's Montecito an audio soap opera or Montecito series, and then that's what it looks like also on YouTube. So Montecito series.
I'll put that in. I'll put both of those in the descriptions, folks, below. So you can just go right over there, make it easy breezy cover girl for you guys just to go and listen. Let's welcome Montecito into the family and listen to it. But come on, folks. We want more. We want more of this. We want season 2. We want season 3. We want keep it going, folks. I'm James Lott Jr. And this is Daytime Today. Of course, Daytime Today is everywhere you want it to be, especially JLJ Media. I'm all over the place. Follow us everywhere. And we will see you next time with another episode of the show.